And I'd like to welcome everyone to the Port of Morrow Commission meetings today, May 13th. I'd like to start out by thanking the commission, or the staff for the tour today. We had an informative tour of the East Beach Water Treatment Facility and the CDA property. It was much appreciated to see the incredible projects that are going on and the progress that's happening. So we'll call this meeting to order at this time. All commissioners are present. Can we go around the room with introductions, please? Lisa, would you like to start?
Anna Brown, Morrow, Chamber of Commerce, ACGA.
Order busy memory.
Chad Snyder, Morrow.
Eric Moore, Morrow.
Jacob Kane, Morrow. Jim Wilson, Morrow.
All right, thank you. And also welcome to the new facilities. Hopefully everyone can hear a little bit better, and people online, please make sure you let us know how this new equipment works for you there. So we'll start out with anyone. Does anyone, after having a chance to look at the
Introductions.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm sorry. That's that part. Introductions online, please. Thanks. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sam Tucker, Council for Port.
I wonder if they can't hear me because I don't have a microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could we have people introduce themselves online? I can't see that far that well. John Doherty, would you like to start?
John Doherty, City of Hebner.
David Albrecht, Castillo, Municipal Advisor to the Port.
Thank you.
Aaron Palmquist, City of Aragon, and it's loud and clear, John. Thank you.
Good.
Jessica Esparza, Port of Morrow.
Good afternoon, Nick Growie, Aqua Engineering.
Good
afternoon. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, go ahead. I'll go after.
All right, perfect. My name is Zach Trout. I'm with Aqua Engineering.
And Lauren Garissi, Parametrics.
Joe Mitzel, Parametrics.
Ryan Gleason, CFM Advocates.
Kirby Garrett, CFM Advocates.
Cameron Cloud Ruiz, Beverage and Diamond.
Any other brave souls out there?
Kelly Morgan, Lamb Weston.
Thanks, Kelly. Jessica E. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Morrow County Planning.
Hi there, this is Tamara Mabbott from County Planning, just for a bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Sam Tucker. We have several people from BPA online.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, Steph Blacker.
And they may be waiting until their issue comes up before they will listen to you.
Fair enough. Okay. One suggestion I would make is maybe you do have a mic in the future. Ha ha. Yes. Okay. If we have to have one, you have to have one. Okay. Commissioners, you've had a chance to look at the agenda and the materials. Are there any conflict of interest declarations today? Okay. All right. We do have one change to the agenda. It's an addition under new business. We have to move to approve, should we agree, on the Business Oregon General Application for Strategic Plan. And it would be best to be executed today if possible, if there are no objections.
Nope.
We have public comment. We have a full agenda today, so we're going to move right along, okay? We have a budget committee meeting at 3:30 as well as other issues to work on today. So public comment period. I thought I saw one signed up out. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. Commissioners, have you had a chance to look at it, and should you so feel, move?
I'd move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, legislative updates. Ryan, would you like to kick us off, please?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, happy to go first. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ryan Gleason with CFM Advocates. Great to see you all today. Love the new room, or the new setup. I can hear you all so well. So I'm going to start with some political updates today, but try to be knowing of a quick agenda or a long agenda, excuse me. We have the May election right around the corner, and right now the governor's race is the main statewide race on the ballot. So we have Governor Kotek, who does not really face a serious primary match. She has some Democrats challenging her, but most notably, one of those people is, sorry, my dog's going crazy, a pencil that is running to bring awareness to Oregon's struggling education system. On the other hand, we have Republicans who have quite a primary ahead of them. We have a senator and former gubernatorial candidate, Christine Drazan, who is currently in the lead, but she is running against names like Ed Deal, who's a state representative, and he led the gas tax push to the ballot, which was successful, and voters will see that next week on their ballots right now. And then also against former Trailblazer Chris Dudley. So right now, Senator Drazan is in the lead, and she would face off, if she wins, a rematch between her and Governor Kotek, who ultimately won in 2022 by just a few percentage points. But one more quick point on politics. Voter turnout is very low. Right now, we only have 12% of eligible voters in the state having cast a ballot. And interesting enough, Oregon's largest county, Multnomah County, has the lowest voter turnout right now. So just thought that was an interesting tidbit to share with you all. Moving towards policy a little bit, but still elections related, voters are going to decide on that gas tax transportation package next week. And components of that include the gas tax, registration fee increases, and payroll taxes to fund transit. That measure is expected to fail, and that is why the governors I talked about last month is putting together the Rebuilding Transportation Work Group, which is co-chaired by Representative Bruce Hanna and former ODOT Director Grace Krunikin. The group had its first meeting earlier this month on May 1st. It was really interesting to those who maybe haven't been paying attention to transportation conversations over the last few years, but a lot of kind of repeat for those like myself and maybe others in this room who have been really involved in tracking the transportation conversation. Subcommittees of that group are starting to meet between now and their next meeting on June 1st. So I'm hoping their June 1st meeting is a little more exciting. Just moving on to some port-specific priorities. So we have been trying to work with DEQ around increasing the amount that the port has received through the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund. As you all know, right now the port has gotten $50 million from that. We were looking to increase that to 100 just due to the fact that the financing is much more favorable compared to some other programs. Unfortunately, just due to some federal changes, we are kind of been given the signal that that's not going to be possible. And so we are thankful for that 50 million. Many other projects have been limited to 20 moving forward, just due to the low amount of funding available, but we'll just continue to press that in the best way that we can, just knowing that it has such an impact on the wastewater rates. Moving on to some agency priorities. As I talked about last time, agencies are starting to set their legislative agendas for 2027 or invite advocates like myself into meetings to hear what they're bringing forward. From the Water Resources Department, one of the concepts that is most interesting is blank at the moment. It is a very, very broad water concept, and so we'll be tracking that very closely. They should be starting work group meetings here soon. I've gotten myself on that list, but it could be another attempt at Senate Bill 1153, which was the governor's water right transfer bill back in 2025. So that is something that we will want to track very closely. And then on the DEQ side, they are looking at a few different packages and concepts for 2027. One of them being wastewater operator reciprocity. And I did learn from the team that that is something that's really important to the port, and maybe not necessarily on that issue specifically, but addressing the fact that current wastewater operators at the port facilities cannot become state certified due to how the agency defines relevant experience. So hoping to work with them on addressing that issue so those employees are able to become state certified. The last thing I'll share is the DEQ is actually looking at WPCF and MPES fee increases for 2027. So something that we'll be also tracking very closely because that, again, impacts the wastewater rates. That was just a quick update. So sorry to take so much time. Happy to take any questions.
No, that was pretty quick, Ryan. Thank you for the
Thank you.
amount of material you covered. So, any questions, anyone?
No.
We appreciate your paying attention to those topics, Ryan. Thank you. Please keep us informed.
Thank you.
Kirby, please.
All right. I will try to be as quick as Ryan was. Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks as always. Appreciate the opportunity to give you an update. There have been definitely some significant developments in DC since my last report. I'll start on the political front, where we've seen some major shifts in the redistricting battle that began earlier this year, or I guess end of last year. Basically, with both parties trying to redraw congressional maps in a way that improves their positioning heading into the midterm elections this fall. Just a few weeks ago, Democrats believed they had gained a huge advantage in these redistricting efforts, particularly in Virginia. But the state Supreme Court just overturned that map. They were going to gain 4 to 5 seats out of that. So that represents a huge setback after they put a lot of political and financial investment into that effort. And then at the same time, like within a week or two after that, the US Supreme Court issued a ruling related to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act for redistricting cases that basically opened the door for Republicans in southern states to redraw the maps and gain 1 to 2 additional seats in places like South Carolina, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Missouri. So again, just a few weeks ago, Democrats viewed retaking the House this fall as basically a near certainty. That's much more in question now with these developments. And even if Democrats do regain the majority, I think there's a pretty strong chance that it will be a pretty narrow majority. So who knows how things will shake out. Long way to go until the fall, but definitely a hit for Democrats, I would say, in the redistricting battle and positioning for the midterms. So those are the kind of the big developments on the political side. On the legislative front, in Congress, Republicans are still working through the procedural steps to advance another reconciliation bill. And again, this is one that will be primarily focused on providing what they want to do is provide 3 years of funding for ICE and other immigration and border security agencies. The House and the Senate have both passed the budget blueprint that kind of kicks off this process, which is a big hurdle to get through. But now they have to actually draft the details of that legislation, advance that out of the House and through the Senate, and go through the Senate parliamentarian, who has a very strict process on what's allowed and what's not. So they got a long way to go, but they are kind of now in the thick of it. Additionally, the House of Representatives passed a bipartisan farm bill, almost a year delayed. The farm bill is a piece of legislation they usually pass every 5 years or so that reauthorizes agriculture and nutrition programs. So they finally got that out of the House. The Senate Ag Committee is now expected to begin its own version, and their goal is to pass something together by the end of the year and get it to the president for signature. Similarly, the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee is finally preparing to mark up a new surface transportation bill, which again, Congress passes about every 5 years. This one reauthorizes highway, rail, transit programs. And they were supposed to have this done by the end of, or are supposed to have it done by the end of this September, but and we're hoping to have a bill out of the chamber last year, but keep getting delayed in that process. So they've made some progress. We're seeing movement on numerous fronts, but governing is it's very messy right now, extremely difficult. They've got very, very tight margins, like I've talked about before, and getting anything negotiated and signed into law is always going to be a challenge. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes. Additionally, on the legislative front, Congress is moving forward on appropriations bills or spending bills. And this is for this year, for fiscal year 2027. That technically begins on October 1st. I've discussed this previously, but with these spending bills comes the opportunities for members of Congress to secure earmarked funding for local projects. And this year, we worked with Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley to pursue funding for two projects that I've talked about. The first was $1.8 million for upgrades to the American Legion building in Ione. That would basically establish a small incubator space. The second was also for $1.8 million to upgrade the port's face dock at Terminal 3. Obviously, when we put together these requests, we know that it's going to be hard to get funding for all of our requests that we submit, just given how competitive this is. That became even more challenging this year because the Senate Appropriations Committee imposed limits on how many projects each senator is able to submit to the committee. So the way things have kind of shaken out so far is that fortunately, Senator Wyden and Merkley were able to advance our request for the Ione project. However, they were unable to move forward with the Terminal 3 face dock project, which is super disappointing. Not entirely unexpected, given that the funding account that we have to go after for that project goes through a subcommittee, THUD, which is the most competitive one out there. So not a shocker, but very, very disappointing nonetheless. Fortunately, we have some other opportunities that we're targeting through the grant front for that project, so we'll continue to pursue that. With regards to the Ione project, the next step will be for the Senate Appropriations Committee to begin marking up their spending bills, and that will happen over the next month or two, hopefully. It's a very fluid process, and at that point, we'll learn if we're actually in the bill. Outside of the earmark process, just real quick, we are also working to prepare applications for MARAD's PIDP, Report Infrastructure Development Program, for geotechnical analysis for the gantry crane. We are also looking to develop an application for the Federal Railroad Administration's CRISI program to replace the South Spur project, basically replacing and upgrading rail infrastructure within the industrial park. Those applications are both due in the next 6 to 7 weeks. So we are working very hard to finalize those materials, work with your team to get all that done, coordinate stakeholder outreach, and develop an advocacy strategy with the delegation. So very busy on multiple fronts, but those are the main updates I had for today. And obviously happy to take any questions, but thank you.
Thank you, Kirby. There's just never a dull moment, is there?
That's for sure.
Yeah. Are there questions for Kirby? Thank you very much, Kirby. Okay, we'll move on to old business, and we'll start with CDA update.
Okay, I'll start with that and I'll read from as you recall, we were discussing that grant money for the road project, and Umatilla Electric, the road's going to cost less than the total grant was. And Umatilla County or Umatilla Electric didn't want to move forward quickly on that. So they've decided they have applied for the grant for the road as it is, and then they will file an additional call for the grant monies later. And I'll read from their project, what they delivered to the business of Oregon. So the total project is estimated at $10.98 million. UEC's contribution to the overall project will be $3.9 million. Umatilla Electric intends to request the remainder of the funds allocated to UEC through HB 5006 before the end of this year, either as part of a different phase of this project or for a related project in the same industrial area. So they are going to apply for the other monies. And I'm going to recommend that Umatilla Electric they're in the driver's seat. They can do what they really want, but I think that might be fine if they want a project that works for them and the CDA, that they move forward with it. Another thing came to light in the meeting with the CTUIR real estate contract of sale. This was passed a few years ago, but it has a fee threshold for the CTUIR, which to kind of take, at any rate, the CDA's legal, professional, and consultant fees, collectively professional fees, in an amount not to exceed $35,000. CDA shall pay the cost of any issue or sale as policy of title insurance, land use professional fees to the extent such fees exceed fee thresholds. So the CDA may be looking at a bill for the tribe's agreement. Not sure how that happened, and but it's done. And so don't be surprised when whatever that bill comes. And I was talking to Lisa,
I would just add to that, that was on the original transfer for the wildlife habitat conservation area.
okay,
And they're now getting 300 acres of industrial property at the D mill site. So that really could be considered two separate transactions. Maybe that wouldn't apply to
okay.
both of them collectively.
Ugh. Gets complicated every time. But anyway, then we're working on our land sale kind of agreement. How is that going?
In scheduling the meeting again with Morrow County. They've asked for a meeting tomorrow or Friday, I think. We're reviewing legal lots for they're free tomorrow. And I've got a little window of time in the afternoon. Yes.
I didn't turn this on. So we're working on reviewing the legal lots of record on the Morrow County side with Morrow County Planning Department.
Irrigan was wanting to do a test well, and I don't know much about that other than that. Well, I just need an update on it, please.
I don't have an update on it. The last time we talked about that, the location for the test well is on property we don't own yet. So we can't give that authorization at the port.
Okay.
The CDA might give that authorization. I don't know if they would or if they'll just wait till it transfers. I know there's a timing issue for Aaron to get that test well completed. But Aaron, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, thanks, Lisa. Thanks, John and Commission. We're right now what we're waiting on, everything is green light with EPA, and we need to move forward in getting the test well process or an agreement, or at least it's not really an agreement, but permission. The process for doing the testing and all that is going to be a 2-year process. This is money that's been allocated probably over a year and a half, and EPA is waiting on us. On our end, they've given us the green light. So my request, and I know, I think there's been some email traffic, Lisa and I, is should we look at some other land just to do a test well up there? Because that track 2 is going to be difficult because it is still owned by the Army. They're moving slow like always, bureaucrats. Maybe Kirby can help push it back there during the week or something, because BRAC should be done, but that's government. On the BRAC side, they're dragging their feet everywhere else, not just here at the Army depot here at Umatilla. So that would be the brief update, but we need to get it moving because it's a long process to do the testing for quality and quantity. We've got to get that moving.
I will give you an update on BRAC. Brandy and I actually went to the Pentagon, visited with BRAC along with CDA members, Port of Umatilla members, Umatilla County members, and they said they're working very diligently to get that parcel 2 transferred, and their time frame was in the 6 to 12 months range. Their intent is to dispose of the property. They wanted to make sure we all knew that that's where we're headed. So it's not going to take them long. It does not need to, the piece we're talking about does not need to go through cleanup. They've already done that there. So
where would they be transferring it to CDA?
yes.
Right.
Yes, it would be transferred to CDA, but in our purchase and sale agreement, we already have that locked in.
Okay.
Is this something that, for the test well, that Aaron Irrigan should ask the CDA for permission to do it since they're the landowner at the moment, or?
Right. Sounds like the Army's the landowner at the moment.
Oh, well, that's true. I'm sorry, you're right. The Army would.
And John, this is Aaron. I have sent that to Emily and copied Lisa, but as Joel points out, the CDA doesn't own that property until it comes. But I have made that request to do that. And that's where Lisa and I have communicated that they were going back to BRAC. But 12 months is probably a fast number for BRAC. Should it be done sooner? Yes, but it'll be slower than what we always encounter through NEPA and EPA. That's just the way the Army moves.
Okay, all right.
So I have one question. So the money that was allocated to Irrigan, when is that have to be spent by, Lisa? Didn't it have a time stamp on it?
I don't know.
Aaron?
What we have told, and they're holding us to it, is it would be in the spring of 29 when everything would be done. We're cutting into that timeline, into that agreement fast and furiously.
I mean, I think the worst case scenario is you wait 12 months and see if the Army gets that transferred and we can get that completed. Otherwise, let's look for another site very close to that the owner's willing to make that happen.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay, thanks, everyone. Anything else on CDA update?
No.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Lisa. Moving on, WIFIA update.
The last meeting was Jason and David. David's online. I do. It's on.
Oh, there we are. I don't know, is Jason there? I can't see if he's there or not.
Yes.
Okay, well, we had, you probably know, we're having bi-weekly meetings with WIFIA, although next week or the next meeting's canceled because it's Memorial Day weekend and they said they weren't going to be around. So they went ahead and canceled it on us. But where we're at right now with WIFIA is that the port's bond attorney sent WIFIA a letter last week regarding questioning some of the statutory requirements or federal regulations that are involved with the WIFIA loan program, dealing with how much loan that the port is able to qualify for, and based on various interpretations that a couple years ago to where we're at now. And so WIFIA said they will consider the arguments that the port's bond attorney had put together in a conversation that I had with them 2 weeks ago. And I asked the bond attorney to send WIFIA a letter regarding some of those changes and how they came up with their rationale of the loan amount. They said they would take that into consideration. However, it's not likely that they will waver on that. They did come back and say that they're willing to not pursue the farm as collateral for the WIFIA loan. Jason and I are going to be working together to get them kind of a revised, we call it Project E in the application, but it's a sources and uses fund schedule, which they've been provided several times. And I think Jason even mentioned that the last update they had was at the end of March. So we're still working with them to try to figure out the best course of plan of financing for the wastewater project. And so we're hoping I'll be visiting with the port staff and the bond attorney again here. I will be up there Monday for I believe there's an industry meeting, so I will actually be up there in person on that. So hopefully we can get some time with the port staff to kind of go through the loan agreement. We discovered that comments that I had provided with port's staff's assistance, that comments that the last time we gave to the loan agreement were not folded in. So we got to work with WIFIA on that again. That's probably the best update I can give you right now. And I know on the project side itself, I know Mark can give you an update on that, or Jason or Eileen. But we're still working through some of the issues with WIFIA. We do have the interim financing that is coming due on October 1st. I've been working with the investment bank that we used last time, looking at a strategy, roll that over to give some additional time and flexibility with regards to, secondary treatment components. And then looking at the strategy of maybe doing a combination of a longer term financing with them as well as WIFIA. So we're still kind of working through that plan of finance. Ideally, I'd like to have something in place, a good strategy by the end of this month. Roll or refinance the note for 2 to 3 years possibly. And then, figure out the long-term piece along with any other project needs that might come about.
Thank you, David. That was going to be my question. When do I need to start worrying about our short-term financing and?
Not yet.
Okay, that's good to know. All
Yeah,
right.
no, we got a few months, but we do have a strategy in place to take care of that. So, but I think even though we'll have a strategy in place to take care of the short-term piece, we're really trying to solidify the plan of finance on the long-term piece. Because certainly if we can keep the short-term piece short-term and lock in the various plan of financing that needs to be done for the longer term, it would be better for the port. So, but I am confident to say we do have a strategy in place to take care of the short-term note. And we'll probably hit, like I said, solidify the plan by the end of this month and then really get cracking on, a good plan and strategy to get the whole plan of finance in place.
Very good. Okay, thank you, David. Yeah, that sounds good. Are there questions? Thank you. CWSRF revolving fund update.
Okay, this one will be quick. We had a very nice meeting with the DEQ staff to talk about the additional $50 million that we had requested from the state. They kindly told us that they will not grant that request. As a matter of fact, they're reducing the cap on their current applications to 20 million. So, we're happy that we got 50 when we did. That is the only update there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
It felt bad though.
They did. It was a nice meeting, but.
Good. Okay. Morrow County Clean Water Consortium updates.
We had a meeting a couple days ago, and boy, let's see,
Yesterday.
was that yesterday? It was yesterday. We put in a policy for public records requests because we didn't have one and we had a request. So we now have a records request policy. We had a little bit of good information on one of our CIP applications, took a baby step forward. One of them got X'd, but one of them went forward. So that was a plus. It still has a long ways to go, but it was something. And boy, what else?
We approved our budget for
Oh, budget,
2027.
yeah.
We discussed the Amazon settlement agreement and Morrow County Clean Water Consortium's role in requesting to be a recipient of those funds. Heard a director's report from Jared, approved invoices, and the budget I have in here somewhere.
My question is going to be, what concrete steps are we making to help get water to the people of West Glen?
Well, tonight is a meeting with the city that the county and Jared and Matt are going to give a presentation to the city. It's just a workshop for information only, but it's going to kind of outline what we are looking at in the 3 or 4 different types of projects and different ways that the city will be able to do that, whether it's owned by the county, owned by the city, or however that works out. And then that will be up to the city to decide which way they want to go.
there a timeline on making this decision or
No,
it just,
it's just a workshop for tonight.
okay?
So workshop is going to be discussion of how the city, having a goal of what the consortium wants and maybe how the city can supply it. Is that what the meeting?
I think it's more what the city wants. They're going to be the driving force on that. They're going to be given, the different options, which is, does the county want to be a utility and own the infrastructure? Does the city want to own the infrastructure and do the billing and all those things and the maintenance? And I think there was one more. I haven't seen the presentation, so I'm not really sure. But I know they said they had 3 options to present. And so that will be presented tonight.
Okay. So then maybe decisions might be able to be made by these organizations then after this workshop, hopefully.
Hopefully, that's the,
We need to start making decisions. So,
Decisions
yeah.
start to be,
Yeah.
need to be made at
Yeah.
some point, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That
Good.
shows some progress.
Yeah, I'm going to be anxious to hear how it goes in
Fortunately-
the June meeting.
We're not in the driver's seat
No, I understand.
on that.
Okay. All right.
I mean, my hope is the city will approve supplying the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Thanks.
Current budget was a total revenue of $7 million into Clean Water Consortium. So
Yeah.
Should build some infrastructure.
there's money too.
Yep.
There's money
Pipes
accumulating.
and
That's
screen.
good.
Mhm.
That's great. Any questions or other thoughts on Clean Water Consortium update? Okay, SIP IGA with the county. The group that was Jerry and I and Lisa met with the county a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago. We have a second meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, 10 o'clock. So we can give an update. We're just, Lisa, do you have thoughts on that? Do you like to express, Jerry? What are your impressions, thoughts?
Well, I think we're going to get to an agreement. And I think it'll be a small group, right? A couple, probably a commission member from both groups and someone else from, in my view, probably the administrators from both organizations. So it's a tight group so they can negotiate a SIP project, come to terms with somebody who wants to do a SIP, and that, our tax assessor would just be, ex officio, be available for advice, but a small working group to get to decision making. And I think they're open to it. So I think we'll get there.
Okay. We did have 2 different scenarios presented to the group. One was something sent from the county based on conversations that we'd had as a big group meeting that we had before. And then another one was a copy of an IGA, that was based off of the enterprise zone agreement. Different, of course, because there's not communities involved, but the 2 are sponsoring agencies. So anyway, there's work to be done. We did make some progress. We'll have a meeting next week and.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they'll merge those 2 together and we'll get somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
My opinion there is, since I drafted the revisions to the enterprise zone agreement to look, like
And I
the
think
SIP agreement.
I think we're moving towards that. I
Right.
feel good about it. I think we'll get there.
Now, a comment that was made is that this group needs to be able to react to business opportunities in a timely fashion. We can't be
Right.
hard to get together. We can't be indecisive. We need to be ready to go when the time comes.
And we
So,
think we'll have some soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the impression we got, is that this is, time is of the essence. So.
Yep.
Okay, anything else on SIP IGA County? Okay. Strategic business plan updates. Lisa?
So I'll give you the update now. We were invited to apply. We sent the intake form to the state. They come back formally and say, yes, your project looks good. It meets our program requirements. Please now fill out the application. Under new business, we will add the execution of that application. It needs to be signed by John. So right now it's a $50,000 grant and we have probably $150,000 project. If there's any way to split the strategic planning piece away from the economic impact analysis, if they would fund them separately, we'll go ahead and do that and have you modify. So when you make that motion, make sure that it includes opportunities to amend that a little bit. But that might work. They were going to lift that cap on 50 million. It just hasn't happened yet.
50,000.
50,000.
We'd appreciate 50
Be a heck
million,
of a
but-
plan, wouldn't it?
Okay, thanks,
Yeah.
Lisa. All right.
When millions just roll off your tongue.
It really does nowadays, doesn't it? Okay, we will take up the application under new business. STAO Best Practices Program. Randy, do you want to?
So you guys approved the policy last month, which was the last part. I sent you an email, so all of our parts are completed, so we get the 10%.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, thank you. Let's see.
Can we ask someone online if they could hear? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Next on the agenda, secondary treatment discussion. And I asked to have this on the agenda based on our conversations that we had and our presentation that we had at the last commission meeting, where there were a variety of opinions expressed about secondary water treatment. And I guess I'm asking for maybe just a brief discussion about it today and guidance. There was a range of opinions expressed, from not treating to treating extensively.
So if I could give a little update, John,
Yeah,
just
please.
on schedule.
Yep, please.
So as everybody knows, we submitted 90% 1st of April. We submitted to DEQ for approval. We plan to have plan and design wrapped up by August. Project would go to bid in August. Awards would be in September. And we plan to go to construction in November. That's been our initial plan all this time until the last meeting, where everything kind of got a little bit, some commissioners weren't sure if this is the direction we were supposed to go. We have Joe Mitzel and Lauren, and we also have Aqua up there to answer any questions. But as staff, we're recommending that we move forward with this for the future of the port. We think it's our best option for future treatment. And it'll save a lot of issues going down the road. So if you guys have any questions for Lauren or Joe, could you talk a little bit about?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I can guide some of the discussion before questions, maybe answer a few questions before they come up. We think it's useful to break this discussion up into two main components. Number one is why the port and its consultants have determined that reuse water really does need treatment. Joe and I are going to support this discussion. Parametrics does work with this. Number two is how secondary treatment is being accomplished and why Aqua's current design really is the most cost-effective alternative that the port and its consultants have landed on after several rounds of evaluation and value engineering efforts. And I'll, in a moment, pass that on to Aqua to talk about shortly. And the intention is to keep this discussion brief and high level, and anyone can ask questions as we go along. So as for the why, as previously mentioned, several commissioners and other stakeholders have asked, do we still need treatment of the port's reuse water now that Winterland application has stopped and the original treatment limits that are in the permit don't need to be met anymore? And the answer to that, after a lot of analysis, is ultimately yes. So the primary reason for that is to manage system capacity at build out. I think Joe presented the capacity analysis behind this concept during the March commissioner meeting, so you all should remember some of those concepts. But in summary, the findings from that were that at build out flows, which are around 9.6 million gallons a day, it represents a 56% increase over current inflows to the port. Aqua, correct me on that if I'm wrong. And with conservative nitrogen accounting assumptions, we have determined that nitrogen in the reuse water needs to be reduced by about 30% to around 70 milligrams per liter at the very least. And this is in order for the port to maintain compliance with crop-specific nitrogen loading rates during the growing season and prevent ponds from overflowing during the winter season. So Aqua's current design meets that need, but importantly, it also provides the port with some operational flexibility. Aqua's Aqua can talk about this a little bit more when I hand it off to them in a second, but their system can treat down to 40 milligrams per liter. So their system is able to provide the port with an operational total nitrogen range coming out of the secondary treatment plant. And the things that I want to highlight here is that that extra capability is really important because it allows the port to first and foremost, match reuse nitrogen to the variable crop needs each season. As I think Joe talked about last time, every year the port has different crop rotations and the nitrogen limits change every year. So having that flexibility helps meet those needs. Perhaps most importantly, this also allows the port to buffer against uncertainty in future DEQ nitrogen accounting requirements. So for example, in the next permit cycle, the port is likely going to have to start counting soil ammonium to the crop root zone in their nitrogen accounting, which reduces the capacity. And having secondary treatment in place with nitrogen reduction provides them some operational buffer to deal with changes like that. It also allows the port to grow more profitable crops. So that helps offset some of those necessary treatment costs. And then it also allows the port to accommodate a little over 50% more industrial flow capacity for future growth as the Boardman industry region expands. There's also a secondary advantage that Aqua can talk more about, but this is when you target nitrogen removal through secondary treatment, you also get organic material removal, and this supports management of both odor and biomass accumulation in the storage ponds, which helps operations generally. So I think bottom line takeaways here is that we do think secondary treatment is necessary, and it allows the port to balance permit compliance both today and into the future, especially considering uncertainty in those future permit requirements. And then it also allows the port to expand and accept new dischargers as the industry grows in Boardman. So with that, I think I'll hand it off to Aqua to talk about how treatment's being accomplished and why their current design is really the most cost-effective solution that we could find, and it meets the compliance and operational needs of the port's system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Growy with Aqua Engineering. Mark and Lauren kind of covered the what and the why, and we're here to talk about the how. So going back about a year, Aqua did evaluate multiple technologies before recommending the one that we are currently designing and is in review by DEQ. At that time, we screened 8 different treatment technology solutions. We narrowed that down to 4 options that could be employed within earthen basins. And then we conducted a detailed head-to-head comparison of the top 2 finalists. That is a SBR or sequencing batch reactor compared to a continuous flow activated sludge system. After that evaluation, we concluded that the SBR option was the lowest cost on both capital and life cycle metrics, and scored the highest in our overall weighted evaluation criteria. Our design approach focused primarily on avoiding concrete where possible. So we elected to use a lagoon-based treatment system with earthen ponds, lined ponds. This is a configuration that the port has employed in many areas of its existing system. The port's used to operating it, and it reduces the major capital costs associated with large treatment basins built of concrete. So we presented these findings to the commission on May 7th of 2025. We submitted a kind of a final technical memorandum to the port with our conclusions. At that time, the port authorized us to proceed with design of the SBR-based system. Since that's happened, the design has advanced through 2 major DEQ submittals. The first being in September of 2025, where we submitted 30% designs and the preliminary design report to DEQ. DEQ reviewed and returned comments to us in November of 25. We provided responses to them in January of 26 and have continued coordination with DEQ since. As Mark stated earlier, April 1 of this year, we submitted 90% plans along with a engineering report to DEQ, which is currently in their review. So we've maintained active, ongoing coordination with DEQ throughout this design process, and the regulatory path is fairly well established at this point. The total project costs, based on our estimates, is currently pegged at around $80 million. This is our planning level engineer's opinion of probable costs. Covers the full system from process equipment, earthwork, civil improvements, electrical systems, and control systems. I will caveat that this estimate reflects current market conditions to the best of our ability, but it is not a hard bid. The actual project costs will not be known until the project is publicly bid. As everyone's well aware, construction markets are subject to volatility, driven by material costs, supply chain conditions, labor availability, and broader economic factors outside of anyone's control. So the port should be prepared to receive bids that may come in above or below that number that we are currently stating. And we will continue to refine that estimate as the design advances. As Lauren stated, the project is sized for the port's future, not just for today. We are sizing this facility for a maximum monthly flow of 13 million gallons per day and an average daily flow of 9.6 million gallons per day. That's more than 30% above current flows, providing the port with sufficient treatment runway to accommodate industrial expansion without requiring another major capital investment. As mentioned, the total nitrogen effluent targets are between 40 and 60 milligrams per liter, well below the 70 milligram per liter absolute ceiling that Parametrics has determined through their calculations. What else? Another advantage of this system is BOD removal, as Lauren touched on. There's currently no DEQ permit limit on BOD. However, the SBR process removes BOD as part of the biological treatment removal sequence. It's inherent to how the process works. We're currently targeting roughly 30 milligrams per liter BOD in the effluent, which prevents biological growth and odor in the storage ponds. This benefits a direct consequence of designing for TN compliance, and it doesn't require additional cost or infrastructure. Just touching on schedule again, we do have a clear path to compliance at this stage. DEQ is reviewing the 90% plans. We anticipate receiving their comments within the next month or so. We'll proceed to 100% documents ready for bidding purposes sometime around August of this year. Construction groundbreaking anticipated for Q4 of 2026 with a target completion date of July 2029. There is a DEQ compliance deadline for completion of the project, which is November 1 of 2029, and proceeding today helps keep this schedule intact.
Sure. Okay. Nick, thank you. Lauren, thank you. Mark, is there anything you'd like to add at all right now?
No.
Okay. I'm looking for comments from the commissioners about their feelings. I guess I didn't realize that there was a question that we were moving forward with this process. And so I would just like to hear from the commission. Thoughts.
I've heard the first thought, as I remembered, is that this allows for a better way of managing nitrogen. Whereas if it was just the tanks, it'd be coming off in different size batches, harder to manage. And then I had kind of forgotten about the odor issue. That could be a long-term horrible one. So I think I don't like the expense, but I think all in all, this is as good as we can do. So
I think that we shouldn't forget that DEQ is mandated secondary treatment as well. I don't think it's an option.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm.
DEQ is a driver here.
Right.
Well, and also future growth for the port. I think I don't want to limit our opportunities in the future. We need to take, in my opinion, take care of the issues that we've had in the past, which I believe this will do. You know, having 110 go to the ponds with no ability to add to volume because of growth, I think is too short-sighted. So anyway, I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I think that I understand it well enough now that I don't have any real difficulty with it. As long as we think we're truly going to give ourselves some room to stay away from this issue with DEQ post 2029, I think, to me, that's what we've got to get to, is something that allows, as you say, growth, something that can be managed and that we don't have to throw another 100 million or 200 million into the pool to keep up. I mean, I know the DEQ is going to move, and that's a problem. They're going to move on us. So as long as we think we have enough flexibility built into this, that we're not facing another huge bill in 31 or 32, that would be. So overall, yeah, no, I think I've been brought up to speed, so I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the cost, but I don't like the press either. I'd like us to get beyond this situation and move on.
And the DEQ loan is only good for secondary treatment.
Right.
So the $50 million DEQ loan that we have, that's 2% interest, is only good. If we don't do that, we don't get that loan.
Yeah, no, well, and you know, I trust that you'll do everything you can to keep the costs under control and building it. So
yeah,
I'm good with it.
As I mentioned in the budget committee meeting last month, I want to pay this off just as rapidly as we can from the port perspective.
Yeah.
I understand the impact that it has on business, and I'm not insensitive to it at all. So minimizing the costs going into the system, but also maximizing repayment to the best of our ability is something that I'm interested in as well. But I do feel it's a necessary thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that we don't have a choice. I think we're being backed into a corner in which we have to do it by the DEQ.
Yeah.
But we need to understand that we are spending a huge amount of money. And somebody's going to have the burden of picking that up. That means our customers and ultimately the consumers.
Yep.
So when we make those kind of decisions, it shouldn't come lightly.
No.
And it frustrates me. We're going away from our story that we've been able to tell for a very long time now on reuse. And had it been properly managed, or if it continues to be properly managed, the value of that reuse and how it would impact our communities. Because ultimately, in order to grow crops, you have to apply nitrates. So if we're not providing nitrate water, somebody else is going to be applying nitrates and they're going to have to add that cost to the consumer. So ultimately, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. One thing that I guess I do have a question, are we able to, depending on the crop, control the nitrate level that goes out to the consumer or to the farmer?
Yeah, I can take that one. I'll say to a degree. The nature of wastewater treatment plants is we're leveraging bugs, for lack of a better term, to do the work. So in order to influence the nitrogen removal efficacy of the system, we need to either grow the colony of bugs or reduce the activity of those bugs. And that does take time. It's not simply a dial that can get turned up or down on the plant. It's it's likely a several week long process to get the plant adjusted to a nitrogen level that is compatible with the downstream crops. But I know that the port's operations staff, specifically Chad Snyder, who's in the room there, he's very used to this type of an operation. So to answer your question, yes, it can be adjusted, but there are some hard limits on how much it can be adjusted. That's why we are targeting the 40 to 60 milligrams per liter And there is a timing component to that adjustment. But from my perspective, there's going to be probably a twice annual major seasonal adjustment to the effluent targets, depending on if it's winter time or irrigation growing season.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the approach there.
And I also want to say that I think that if your industry, you're here today, and yes, you're going to have to pay, there's no way around it. But I think building it so more industry can be added, that is, if I were industry, I'd be less excited. I mean, I understand them not being excited about this, but one, it has an opportunity for growth for others to share in the cost. I also think that in the long run, it may be attractive for others in that we have our act together, right? That there is, we just saw the potable water this morning, all of us on the tour, and what's happening, how to, making safe water. And then if you have a system like this that is comfortably within the DEQ's guidelines, if I were going to look at a facility somewhere else in Northwest for doing, some sort of agricultural processing, I think we then become viable. And I think I would love to see more agricultural processing here. I mean, it supports what we are as a region. So if you're getting to an end result that makes that attractive in the longer term, then I'm more on board than I was, because the cost is disturbing. That's what it is. It's crazy.
I will say that we are starting to get some interest in locations for new businesses to come and join in.
I don't think this problem is I mean, right now it's us, we're the headlines, but I think that anywhere that's doing ag processing anywhere has the same concern that they might be sitting at a Port of Morrow that just hasn't been called out on the issue yet, right? So if you're thinking about placing a future industry, we're going to have been ahead of the curve by maybe being forced, of course, but we're also being proactive. So I'm, I understand the industry here today being unhappy with the pricing. I am too, but I don't think we have a choice. But I also think that they should be happy that you guys have designed and thought about the future. So
I would just chime in real quick and echo that I think it is becoming much more of an issue. I don't think the Port of Morrow is alone in confronting this challenge, especially with recycled water, nitrogen. And then I just wanted to kind of echo the question about controlling the effluent nitrogen concentration that Nick brought up, because back in March, Lauren and I gave that presentation with the different buckets on you can only fill up so much of the water bucket. If you fill up the nitrogen bucket first, it doesn't matter how much water bucket you have left, you're done. Well, that 40 to 60 target is, I think this is kind of a good selling point for everyone, is we can use more of the reused water, right? More of it can be land applied because it's at a lot lower concentration. And so now you're offsetting the fresh water that would be needed, and you're offsetting fertilizer, but we're doing it to a point where you're protecting groundwater, you're within your limits for land application, but we're only going as far as needed so that we still preserve the resource value of that water and that nitrogen. And that's where that sweet spot is a range, because this is not going to be perfect science on those estimation. But anyway, I think, to echo everyone's point, I think in a lot of ways, that's kind of a selling point too, right? There's resource preservation, groundwater protection, and opportunity as well.
All right. Any other thoughts by anyone? Thank you, everyone, for a good discussion. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for being here to talk about this again.
Yeah, truly. Is there any other old business to come before us? Okay, we'll move on to new business.
John?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jared joined the call. Jared Tesh from Clean Water. And I don't know if you wanted to talk to him for just a moment. Got one or 2 minutes here.
Sure, absolutely. I'm sorry, Jared, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was on the phone when the meeting started and couldn't get off fast enough. But I know I met you guys a couple months ago when I first got started, but I'm here and I'm excited. We are moving forward. Hopefully, I have a presentation later this afternoon with Boardman City Council at their workshop to hopefully figure out the next steps towards our West Glen project, which is our lowest hanging fruit in terms of getting pipes in the ground and getting some people some clean water. So we are excited about that progress, and we're also excited about some progress with some federal funding for some additional projects to address areas that are not as low-hanging fruit as West Glen, as a cluster of people close to a municipal source are. So, but yeah, that's that's all I had to report on the Clean Water Consortium right now. So
I appreciate it, Jared. Thank you for the update and good luck with the presentation this afternoon.
thank you.
Any other old business? Lisa?
No, but as far as timing goes, we're watching the clock for 2:45. So I say we go ahead with BPA and then see if we get past that to CREZ 3 before that timeframe.
Okay, the first item on new business is Resolution 2026-05 BPA financing. This was a topic of discussion in our last meeting, and it's something that we've done in the past as well. And I think it was in our packet. Would we be willing to move forward on this? Is there further discussion needed right at this moment?
No.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I would move to approve Resolution 2026-05 upon resolution of the Port of Morrow, Oregon, authorizing the issuance, sale, and execution and delivery of its Port of Morrow Transmission Facility revenue bonds. That's probably enough.
That's
I'll second that.
We have a motion in the second, as the motion was stated. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We're going to move on quickly to new business. CREZ 3 amended IGA with Irrigan area of influence. This also has been a topic of discussion in past commission meetings. Did anyone have questions on it or need clarification on what's going on with it? Or would anybody be ready to make a motion?
I kind of found something kind of strange on it. At the bottom, it says that there's 9 people that are going to make the decision, but it only lists 6.
Oh, I'm
That was
sorry.
odd. I don't know where it's at in the packet.
Where is that at?
It's a new business.
Resolutions last one.
It's in the new business, John.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Under governance impact, where it says there's a 9-member board of directors, which includes 3 from the Port of Morrow and 3 from Morrow County. That's all it says.
What page?
The
The last page?
Nope, the first one.
No, yeah. Oh, the first page.
I didn't know if that should include Irrigan or not.
Should be only the sponsoring agencies. It should be 6, not 9.
That's right.
What's that?
Common transpose.
Yeah.
Well, it should be 9 with Irrigan included. Is that correct?
This is
With the
us.
area of influence.
This is us on area of influence.
Yeah, and it's only decided.
This is not amending
governing
the boundary.
bodies,
This is
right?
the area of influence map. So it could just be the 2 parties.
It's just the 2 parties.
Yep.
Sam, would you agree with that assessment?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So we would need to change the wording on this then.
To 6-member.
Hey, John, this is Aaron.
Yes, Aaron.
I believe there needs to be 9 signatures or at least 3 parties because the city of Irrigan has to agree with that because the IGA is being updated. Otherwise, if you say it's just the 2 sponsors, then I think you need to go back and look at the other cities because the cities also agreed to that IGA.
And maybe she didn't. But this was.
Yeah.
I just found it odd.
A good catch.
I don't know. I think that the 2 governing parties set the boundaries. The cities may have agreed to them, but I don't agree with the assessment that the cities had a vote on the boundary. those boundaries were set by the county and the port.
So I think though we're talking about two different things. Boundaries under the CREZ agreement are different than areas of influence.
Right. And this is the areas of influence that was set by the two governing bodies.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the IGA is between Morrow County and Port of Morrow.
Yep.
Not here.
For setting
For this.
for the area of influence. Yeah.
Because when you go to set the boundaries, it's not going to include the whole
That's right.
area here
That's right.
because
It's
it's a
only this
limited
project,
amount.
Right. But these are the areas of influence that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. If something were to change, I guess we could revisit this topic, but I really do believe it's between the sponsoring entities on the area of influence and not the enterprise zone boundaries.
Right.
So
Right.
I guess.
I think as is presented with Scrivener errors, we're probably not ready to proceed with this resolution or this IGA as it's written.
Okay.
I would recommend that you approve it with the change and it can go
Then the
back
county-
to the county.
County could
Let the
change it.
county do that.
Let the county do it.
Let them do their change. I would be fine with that.
Okay, if someone was willing to make a motion to that end, it would be appreciated for time expediency.
I would move that the intergovernmental agreement for the Columbia River Enterprise Zone 3 within a city area of influence amendment number 3, amending it to state, what is it, 6 members?
6-member board.
6 members be approved as presented.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the IGA presented to us from the county with the amendment that it be changed to 6-member board of directors versus 9. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, Lisa, would you mind getting this back to the county and
Yes, I
explain
will do
our
that.
discussion on it, please? Okay, commission bylaws review, we're going to hold that till next month. I think that we can have time to look at them. Any other new business?
So just real quick,
Oregon?
and I know we're running short on time. I would just ask, during my review of the bylaws, I noticed that we didn't really have a code of conduct for the commissioners. Would the board consider maybe reviewing an addition or update to our bylaws to include a code of conduct?
I don't see why not. Yes.
I'm interested in it. Yeah.
Okay. Is that something the SDAO could offer suggestions on as well?
Mhm.
I mean, they have supplied most of the
Yes.
policy and procedure already, so let's ask for their opinion on it, please. And then bring it back to the commission next month, please. We do have the other addition to the new business agenda, which is the Business Oregon application for strategic plan. And you wanted some specific wording, Lisa, about splitting up the two?
To approve the port's ability to apply to Business Oregon for funding for the port planning and marketing grant and economic impact analysis. If the state agreed to split this into 2 applications, we would do that and apply with the dollars accordingly. It does require board approval and signatory is the highest elected official. So that's why it was on the agenda today.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Oh.
Aaron, you're sharing your screen.
Okay, I would move approval of this general application, to Business Oregon for a port planning and marketing grant. And economic impact analysis as
We'll apply.
as 1 or 2, as 2 grants,
We'll apply for the maximum amount of money that we can.
the maximum amount of money.
It could be over 2 grants though.
There you go.
And authorize.
Authorize John
to sign.
John Murray.
Okay,
I'll second that.
There we go.
we have a motion and a second. Everyone kind of heard the motion. Any other questions or discussion?
No.
All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. No other new business. Staff reports. Are there highlights we should hit? on any of the staff reports?
I don't think we need to. I think we better get to.
Okay, we did have some good information presented to us on the CDA tour, so that was appreciated in the East Beach tour. So thank you again for that.
Coonsey paving update, real quick.
Okay, yeah, our Quincy Lines project. Paving is slated to start on Monday, the 18th. They're planning on doing about 1 mile per day of paving of the north lane. And my assistant PM and I will be sending out notifications, making sure Erica's updating our Facebook so everybody's aware on there that, there's going to be paving going on, and try to work with the locals and
Yeah, the concern that was brought by some of the locals that live there and things will be addressed, right?
Many, many times.
Okay, very good. Thank
And
you.
I will say that we are going to pursue funding to try and pave the other half of the road as well.
Okay.
Give it a nice clean blacktop.
That would be,
That makes sense.
that makes sense and would be appreciated, I'm sure. We do have a financial update, but we can do it in a budget meeting, please, if that's all right.
Yep.
I apologize to our economic development groups that might be here. We do need to exit the regular session at this time, and we will come back into session afterwards. At this time, let's see, proper verbiage, we'll recess the regular Port Commission meeting and we'll go into executive session. The Port will hold an executive session meeting for the permissible reasons stated below under ORS 1926602. Representatives of the news media and designated staff and other persons shall be allowed to attend the executive session. The public virtual Zoom meeting link will be paused during the executive session, as permissible executive session meetings are not subject to HB 2560. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision will be made in this executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to the room, start the public virtual Zoom meeting link again, open the regular session meeting. The purposes for this executive session: A, for the purpose of consideration of deliberations with the Port's executive director and other staff members who have been designated by the Port to negotiate real property transactions, ORS 1926602E. Also, for the purpose of consultation with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed, ORS 1926602H. And lastly, for the purpose of review of the employment-related performance of the CEO, ORS 1926602I. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session. We'll see you after a while. All right, we are going to reconvene the regular session of the Port of Morrow Commission meeting at the time of 3:39. Is there any other business to come before the Port at this time? Okay, we will recess this meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm sorry, we're adjourning. My apologies. Thank you. Proper terminology. We're adjourning.